yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light. From now on, our troubles will be out of sight.
Good morning, welcome to the center.
Good morning, welcome to the center. We start at 10 o'clock. Come for coffee and sweets,
And
like
we're-
this one.
And we're the sweets.
I'm not sure where we are
I invite each and every one to gently close your eyes if it's comfortable for you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Today, as we join together in love and peace and light, celebrating each other, our families, our center family.
Good morning.
Knowing that we are, each of us, exuding the love and the gratitude of this season. As I stand here in gratitude for this center, for the love that is exuded here, I ask each and every one of you to feel that love and that light in your heart. Feel it, that love going all the way through your body, touching your skin, every part of your body, your bones, your organs, the veins, the blood. Just feel the love that is exuded here, right now. It is such a sacred space that each one of us are sitting here today, joined together in love. Honoring each one and each other, honoring ourselves. Knowing that each one of us are in the right and perfect place. Extending our love, our light to each one here today. Sitting here in peace, feeling the peace that is so gently surrounding each one of us, each one of you. Feel that love, feel that light, feel it just going around your body, hugging yourself, and extending that hug out to everyone here in this center. Bask in the feel of love, of gratitude and gracefulness. And as each one of us come back into the room very gently, and when it's comfortable for you to open your eyes, and please join me in saying Namaste. Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, that was much bigger than mine. Good morning. Good morning. All right. Little sacred love. That's all that I feel when I'm here. The Daniel Nahmad.
All that you are. move deep, ever more deeply into this quiet space and allow my words to be your words. I am so very grateful today to know that there is just this one God, this one power, this one peace, this one love, this one joy. Knowing this, I know that it is present everywhere, in and through everyone and everything. There's absolutely no place where this power, this God, this love, this light is. There is no place that is not God. And so from this place of oneness with this allness, knowing that each person here is this allness, I speak my word. I declare the truth. I am knowing today that this is a season, the season of love. That this love is a healing love. It's the light that shines forever brightly in and through each and every person. And in this love, there is only good, there's only plenty, there's only peace and goodness. And I know that this power, this present is fully present right here, right now, in this space. That it flows freely and fully in and through everyone here. That every heart is light. And that each one of us is bathed in that light. And as we stand in that light in this holy space, there are no imperfections. There are no limitations. There is nothing missing. There is only wholeness and completeness and love. And so we are blessed today to be in this space. And we're lifted up to that place of high love and joy. And so I'm grateful today for this season. Love exists though, not just now. It is always. Thank you, my God, today for the music. Thank you, my God, today for every person that sits in this space. Thank you, my God, for everyone everywhere, because it's all you. Thank you, my God, for the children who carry forth into the future that which we are, the very best of who we are. Thank you, my God, for our ministers who work so hard, give so much of themselves to this place, to us. Thank you, my God, for the ministry of prayer who holds this place in the light, that healing and loving light of God. Thank you for the message today, because I know that it is a very special message that is intended to touch each heart. And I know that everyone here is here to hear it and will be healed and loved and moved forward by it. And so for all of this I'm grateful. And from this place of gratitude and with absolute faith and the power of God in my word, I release this word to that divine law, knowing here and now that it has no choice but to say yes. And it is done. And let us each say, and so it is.
I tell you, I feel good when Daisy and Ardelia, they're in charge. Do you feel prayed for? Because I do. And how about having my ministers right here in front? Right here in front of me. And looking at Dave and all that stuff. Well, all right. Listen, what you get is me. I don't know what to tell you. You know this one. Something wonderful is happening to me right now. Something wonderful is happening to me right now. Oh, I accept things the way they are. I accept things the way they are now. Yes, something wonderful is happening to me right now. Yeah, come on. I live gracefully. I live gracefully. I live freely. I live freely. Yeah, I live abundantly. I live abundantly. I already have everything I need. Something wonderful is happening to me right now. Yeah, yeah. Something wonderful, yeah, is happening to me right now. I accept things the way they are. I like that. I accept things the way they are not. Something wonderful is happening to me right now. Yeah, like I'm out of breath. What? I love gracefully. I love gracefully. I give freely. I give freely. Yeah, I reap abundantly. I reap abundantly. I already have everything I need. Something wonderful is happening to me right now. Every day, something wonderful is happening to me right now. I accept things the way they are. I accept things the way they are not. Something wonderful is happening to me right now. You guys talk, right? I love gracefully. I love gracefully. I give freely. I give freely. Yes, I reap abundantly. I reap abundantly. I already have everything I need. Something wonderful is happening to me right now. They didn't hire me for my dancing. Something wonderful is happening to me right now. I accept things. I accept things the way they are. You tell me. I accept things the way they are not. Something wonderful is happening to me right now. Right now, I love gracefully. I love gracefully. I give freely. I give freely. I reap abundantly. Yeah, I already have everything I need. Something wonderful is happening to me right now. I mean, I love it, you know. I know this in my mind, and I feel it in this body. So it is. Sing it to me. So it is. 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 You look gorgeous in red, and so it is.
Is it comfortable for you while you're standing, if you would say with me, God bless America and the rest of the world? And if you would just turn to a neighbor and say good morning. Thank you.
good morning. Wow, it's another grand good day here at Las Vegas Center for Spiritual Living. We have had a beautiful center, thank you, Ardia, and a beautiful prayer, Daisy, thank you so much. And then Patty and Dave, I mean, you can't go wrong. And we still have some else. Reverend Mike McMorrow. Reverend Mike has been around for a few years. He's been around for a little while. I absolutely adore this gentleman, and I'm just so happy that he's here. So let me just tell you a little bit about Reverend Mike. He was born in Britain and raised in America on Edwards Air Force Base. Reverend Michael feels blessed to have been called to 2 vocations in his working life. That is a carpenter and a minister. I've heard that before somewhere. He operated as a building contractor in 2 states, experience that has oddly served him well in ministry. Michael discovered religious science in October of 2000 and has been an avid student of the teaching ever since. In July of 2007, Michael became a licensed religious science minister serving in Granada Hills. In September of 2009, Reverend Michael McMorrow was elected senior minister, and the congregation continues to prosper. His messages present a clear understanding of spiritual practice as a way of life available to everyone. People leave inspired and lifted. At Center for Spiritual Living Granada Hills, we are changing lives for good. In his spare time, Reverend Mike enjoys spending time with his wife, Stephanie, son Michael when he's in town, and when possible, enjoys fishing in the High Sierra with his brothers when they can get together. So please put your hands together and give Reverend Michael a warm Las Vegas Center for Spiritual Living.
Let me cover all this up first. My prosperity's been showing since the holidays started. Yeah. So, it's my pleasure to be here. And I thought I would actually have more of my siblings here. I actually have, is it 5 or 6? What are we up to now? 5 brothers and 1 sister. And they were all, many of them were planning to come here this morning. But the only thing worse than giving a minister a microphone is giving an Irishman a karaoke machine with a couple of beers. So that's what we were doing last night. Yeah, so, but it was a lot of fun, and my brother Larry is joining us, and he's a Steeler fan, so all I have to say to that is, go Hawks. So I am the spiritual director at the Center for Spiritual Living in Granada Hills. If you haven't been out there, it's in the North San Fernando Valley. And we're connected. You may not know this, but because I didn't know that, because I met a fellow named Reverend Dan at youth camp years ago when my congregation talked me into going to youth camp. They thought I needed to do that for some reason. And then, of course, I've met these 2 lovely souls, these 2 lovely women. And I have to tell you that Reverend Cheryl and Reverend Stacy both are very highly regarded in the organization. And that's a good thing for your community. Yeah. And in Utah. So much broader. And you're blessed to have them. And but I don't have to tell you that. And so, and we have this wonderful demonstration of the consciousness of community that you guys are building together. Right, so the giving of time, talent, and your hard-earned treasure that goes into supporting that, which we've been doing a lot of fundraising out in Granada Hills, and since I'm in somebody else's church, I say give, and give generously. Because it'd be great if we could do this for nothing. But then how would we demonstrate prosperity in our life? Because positive cash flow is just another way of living in the overflow. And so I know for myself, I look for ways to share. Stephanie and I are both committed to doing this, to finding ways to share with our good with our spiritual community. And I know you are too, because look at this place, it's magnificent. Now I've served out in Granada Hills for about 10 years now as the minister, but I had about 8 or 9 years in before that as a board member under Reverend Dr. Maureen Hoyt. So there's another connection because she was good friends with Reverend Cynthia Clare, and I think she's actually spoken here before. And I know some of you know Maureen pretty well. So I just love it when connections show up. So I was coming out here thinking I didn't know anybody, and then it turns out I know all kinds of people out here. So this idea of connection to people, of places and things, is not new to anyone. It's not new to anyone who's been practicing the science of mind and spirit, or metaphysics generally. It goes beyond coincidence, and instead steps into the realm of synchronicity. For the science of mind and spirit is a way of life that seeks to uncover, discover, and embrace a way of living and being with the Holy Spirit in a conscious way, within the inner sanctum of our own heart, and to bring that sacred relationship, a sense of knowing, intimately knowing, that we are one. We are one in the Spirit. And in this way, we are one with each other. That we strive to bring this to the very forefront of our consciousness, the very forefront of our thinking. And in that complete knowing, we not only connect with more of life, we can actually change the world of conditions and the circumstances around us through the conscious use of mind. Whose mind? What mind? Where the hell did I dine? Right? So, well, of course, it's God's mind, the mind of the divine itself. The mind of the divine itself making itself known by means of me and by means of you and by means of everyone else and everything else, including the folks you don't care for much. There's only one thing going on here and nothing else. This one thing going on is consciousness. Life is consciousness. And in this way, synchronicity becomes yet another way. The sacred expresses itself as our life. So what kind of hippie religion are we talking about here anyway? The control of conditions through the power of our thinking? Are you kidding me? So now, and how do we make that work? Well, we do this by cultivating a conscious awareness of the living Spirit as in and through our life. We start by broadening our understanding of the divine, what the nature of the divine is, considering how we as finite beings are attempting to understand and connect with something that is infinite. Not only are we striving to connect with it, but also to use it. A power greater than we are. A sacred something. That whose nature is infinite, expressing as life, light, love, peace, power, beauty, joy, and synchronicity. And so in this way, then, the divine is more than we think it is. And it's more than that which is. So we have this insight. We start to pay more attention. We start to pay more attention to life. We begin to experiment with the idea that if the Creator is present in everything it creates, then the Creator, and the idea that the Creator is everywhere present, then it must be within me, right? In some crazy cosmic way. And in everything else too. Now what if this is true? What if this really is true? These are the questions Holmes asked, and I started asking myself, because I came from a good, solid Irish Catholic upbringing. My dad was an observant Catholic till his last breath. What if it's true that we are made in the image and likeness of the Creator? What would it be like if we could know this so completely that we could see beyond dogma and denomination? What if we could see this divine expression as life within so completely that all religious thought systems become legitimate? That all avatars of spirituality become teachers of the one light, the one life, the one living intelligence. So perhaps in this way, you may see, as I came to learn, that we are experiencing life then as a continuing unfolding of divine consciousness. A continuing unfolding of the light expressing itself in, through, and as our life. So we started in the caves, and when we had enough to eat, we started considering what is going on here. Where is my place in the world? What is this thing that seems to have power over me? That we continued to evolve until we developed agricultural systems where we started to ask the same questions in different ways. Even developing spiritual rituals and systems and dogma with the necessary trappings and the priesthood as necessary interpreters of the divine, of a sky god up there, separate from lowly man below, the king and the vassal, keeping God safely up there, and the demigod down there. And so we tried to navigate this as humans in consciousness, as we grew in consciousness and understanding of how the world works. So in the West, here in the West, religion remained relatively stable through the centuries, while simultaneously man was accumulating knowledge about the natural world, about the nature of matter, the cosmos, and once was evil, we now understand as lightning, microbes, epilepsy, disease. And the fear began to be stripped away as we began to understand more. Science began to emerge. So here we find ourselves today with this great standoff, thinking that there's a difference between science and religion. The scientists, known in philosophy as materialists, and the philosophers or the religionists, known as the idealists. I'm getting this from Holmes, by the way. I'd like to say I made this up, but I didn't. If you were thinking, wow, this guy's deep, that's just Holmes. Okay. So, because science, as Holmes says, I'm teaching Beyond Limits right now. It's a great class. All right. Science is not interested in why things are, but how things are. That scientists discover universal laws that explain how the world works. That should scientists delve into the why, into the field of inquiry, well, now we're in the realm of philosophy. And many of us today, and many people out there who are longing to fill these empty seats, the seat right next to you, are locked into this science way of seeing the world. We are people of science. We've been trained this way. And yet, we still sense there is something more. Right? In fact, in the Hindu tradition, they say that you go through the realms of life only to end up with that exact question. Is there nothing more? So we are not simply realists, as it turns out. And yet at the same time, as Ernest Holmes says, that intelligent people are that we no longer hold to the ancient ideas and practices, dogmas, or superstitions, that we no longer hold, as people of science, we no longer hold these to be valid. And that formalized religion is losing its hold on the inquiring scientific mind. So, Rev Magazine, right? So all the denominations are asking the question, where did everybody go? All of them. From the ones who are getting saved to everything in between. Formalized religion is losing its hold on the inquiring scientific mind. So, as Holmes observes that although there's been this tremendous explosion of knowledge over the last 300 years, few people are giving any consideration to the implications involved. To most people, religion has either been superstitiously entertained or summarily rejected. And still, we follow the light out of the caves into religion. Until now, we're exploring really what is becoming the next evolution of humankind, which is the evolution of our mind, the evolution of consciousness. That we are beginning to not only suspect, but now to practice the idea that there is one mind, which we are thinking into and is thinking through us. That we are considering the idea that the Creator got so curious about itself that it created you and me in its image and likeness that it may have a greater experience of its creation by means of each one of us. So that in this way, each one of us has the opportunity to co-create any situation or circumstance in our life to be that which we would want to make welcome. So the good news is if you're really up to your backside in alligators right now, this is a great place to start. Because the truth is that you are a demonstration machine. You are demonstrating alligators. Right? And so all that is necessary is to shift the tendency of our thinking so that we are no longer thinking of alligators, but rather knowing we can drain the swamp, which has no, that wasn't where I was going, but then it hit me. Right? We can think a new thought. And this is a very powerful way to live. Right? But when we understand that we are on this continuum of expanding consciousness, then the second coming of the Christ, right? So Christ is not Jesus' last name. We all know that, right? That it's a designation. Anointed. Right? And as we move into these last few days of the darkness, right? Like that, there's more light being brought into the world. So this is our task today as religious scientists and those of us who practice this new thought teaching, right? To be, as the master teacher said, to be the light unto the world. Now this means that we're going to have to stop playing small. That we're going to have to step up confidently, right? And not be afraid to share our religion with others. And it is a religion. I know religious scientists hate talking about religion, but that's what we're doing here. It's a thought system, a religion, a way of life, a way of being with the divine. As each person we meet, with every circumstance that presents itself, that we shift and lift our consciousness. We shift and lift the tendency of our own thinking. So until we finally tip the seesaw over and we have the demonstration. Right? That we can do this with confidence. That we can share this with confidence. Because people are longing to have what you have. Are longing to know what we know. each one of us. So there is no holy priesthood. You know who the holy priesthood is in religious science? Is you. Right? So you know what I'm talking about. You all have friends that say, wow, there's something different about you. How are you always so positive? Right? You go out of a business meeting and say, wow, I really like the way you kind of lifted the vibe in that meeting. Right? They want what you have, and they need to hear your unique story as to how you came to be awake and to shake off the shackles of our own thinking, of your old thinking, our old thinking, which have just been thought forms anyway, to step into a new day, to step into the light, to be a living example of the light in expression, in the way of the way shower, Jesus, the great example rather than the great exception. So these are the things that I ponder about a lot. I have no idea where I'm at on time. Am I going over or what? I'm good, okay. So I got like 5 more pages here. Why don't we just do this? Let's just take a deep conscious breath. Just allow ourselves to be here in this moment. We've had some wonderful music and prayer treatments this morning. And just to consider as we go into this week, right? So we're moving into the solstice, into Hanukkah, the Festival of Lights. Next week, moving into Christmas Eve and Christmas. And so as we move into these longer nights, so we're still welcoming the darkness, and in a few days, we'll be welcoming the light. So considering this idea, what's going to be different for you and for me this year? What practice can I use today? Today's the Sabbath day. You made it to church. How about that? So how can I bring more light to life today? 1 minute at a time, 1 hour at a time. Just for today. And then how can I take that practice of recognition, both recognition and cultivation, and bring that into our work week, into our relationships, into our families. Right? So there's going to be a lot of stuff going on in the next couple of weeks. There's going to be lots of opportunities to express opinion. How are we going to maintain our center? To be the light, expressing. Ernest Holmes says that everything that lives proclaims the glory of God. There is one spirit in which we live, one mind by which we think, one body by which we are part, and one light that lighteth every man's pathway. So it is the recognition of this one light that lighteth every man's pathway that holds great promise for ourselves and for all of mankind once we find it. And there are as many ways to find it as there are people. And so we entertain the divine itch and scratch it and see what happens. Thank you for letting me be here today. Have a very happy and holy holiday season. And let's pray. Am I supposed to do a benediction or something? All right. So let's just take another deep breath. And let's just know together that there's only one thing at work here, one power, one presence, one source, one life, one living intelligence expressing and impressing itself in, through, and as this manifest life. In, through, and as who we are. in, through, and as the very heart that we are. So in this moment, we are open and receptive to accept the living light, the living intelligence of the divine itself, to enlighten our path, to enlighten our heart and our mind, that we are open, receptive to absorb new and creative ideas that propel us into ways of spiritual living that lift ourselves and those around us. That we are opening our heart to be the heart of the divine, loving everyone with whom we come in contact with, especially where there is strife or discord. That we know the truth for the outer world, for our country, for the planet. We know that all of it is, in some crazy cosmic way, expressing as divine right action. And to the extent that we look for the Spirit, we see it. We see it demonstrating in all ways, great and small. This lifts our heart, and propels us into ways of spiritual living and spiritual loving that lift not only ourselves, but the lives of those around us. That we know for our planet as well, that it too is unfolding in this divine plan of which we co-create as stewards of the divine. We take ownership and responsibility for all of it. And knowing that we just release it now into a law of mind, the law of the divine itself that knows only to say, yes, my beloved, yes, in you I am well pleased. So we just release it. We let it go. We let it be so. We let it be so. And together we acknowledge this by saying, yes, so it is. All right, God bless you.
It's her own song. In the name of love. Come on. In the name of love. In the name of love. In the name of
So today we learned about like Hanukkah, and we watched a couple videos about like the beginning, about how like the five brothers and how like their temple was destroyed by what were they called? Maccabees. Don't be testing me on this. And about like how the oil that was supposed to last one night lasted 8 days, which now represents the menorah with 8 candles that we have to light. Get to light, and play dreidel, and I won a lot of chocolate. She did.
Lots of, but yeah, she did clean me out. So, but I wanted to remind you that from Martha, the table, the red table there, all the money that's raised from that sale of that goes directly to the teens. So, just to let you know.
Reverend Stacy wanted me to let you know about the, what is it called? Alignment 2020. We're having kind of a wellness fair, so to speak, here at the center of different authors and book signings, and it's going to be on the January the 5th, Sunday, January the 5th. Yes, so check it out. I think there's a flyer on the happening table. After service? Yes, after service. And it'll be a lot of people here from, a lot of other places too. It's going to be an amazing event. So a lot of female authors, and we'll have, it's going to be a lot of stuff happening that day. So just come on, okay? We always have a lot of stuff happening. Well, thank you. I would like to ask any visiting ministers or practitioners to please come forward. Oh yeah, and Reverend Stacy, please come forward. And Reverend Wanda, please come forward. I would like to ask our entire Ministry of Prayer team to please come forward and to stand here before you, and so you know who they are. And please avail yourself of praying with them and and having them know the truth for you when you're not, if you're not able to do so for yourself. We also have prayer boxes. There's one here in the front that says God's Pocket. There's also one in the back, in the grand hallway. Yes, come on. And if you are a guest here for the first time, if you would please sign our guest book that's in the grand hall at the front desk there, that would be awesome. And thank you so much. And if you would actually stand and connect, I think we're going to go straight to our peace song, as Reverend Mike has already gave us a beautiful benediction. Here we go. Thank you, Patty.
Yes, there is peace on earth, and now it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be. With God as our power, loved ones all are we. Now we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begins with me. Let this be the moment now. With every breath I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and now it begins with me.
Repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening to me right now.
Something wonderful is happening to me right now.
I know this in my mind.
I know this in my mind.
I feel it in my body.
I feel it in my body.
And so it is.
And so it